Hey, what up? I figured I would do a walkthrough of my park. I've been making these things for a long time. This is the first one that I made. Gosh, geez, I think I started it 3-4 years ago. When my kids got interested in it more, I kind of took off on it again. So the backyard park is just super fun, super awesome. So a lot of questions on how I make this stuff. So basically the starting ramp is just pallets turned on their side, right? And then I screwed them together, a little cross bracing. Underneath, this is just one big, massive pallet. There, you can kind of see it. And then I used this guy here, kind of jammed it in, and put another 2x underneath here, so you can kind of see that it's braced up pretty good. I didn't have that initially, and I dropped in a couple times and cracked it. So I was like, yeah, figured I'd need some cross bracing, so I added some. And as far as the tarp here, this is just the cheap stuff from Home Depot, the super cheap stuff. Not like, I mean, yeah, it's as cheap as it's gonna get. Got a little backing on it. This is gonna kill the shit out of your grass. This is not something that, yeah, you don't roll this up. You leave it down for a day, it's gonna burn the grass because of the black on the bottom. Sit in the sun, and you can kind of see here, I in the beginning, I was turning it over, drying it out, all this stuff, trying to save the grass. That's not happening, don't even try. So I turned it over right here, and you kind of see a little rectangle. That was for like an afternoon, so it just killed it. The kids play lacrosse and soccer back here anyway, so you know, we don't have much of a yard. So I'll show you what it looks like here real quick. This is the yard, actually. So that's mostly from the winter stuff, like just piling snow and all that. And then get a good shot of it here. This was all real nice grass right here before. When I say real nice, it wasn't the best, but it was like yard grass, right? So as you can see now, it's like totally dead and just dry and just total garbage. It's compacted, and the only way to revive this is to, you know, do some yard maintenance and stuff. So all right, so pull this back, and I actually recommend staking this down, because any wind that comes along, it's going to blow it over and stuff. I don't, but usually when it's windy, it gets kind of sketchy on my ramp because it's 7 feet. I know the kids don't like being up here when it's super windy, but this is a look of it here. Got another pallet for steps. And then I just kind of cut. So here's what I did. I cut this one off like halfway right here. Get out a little bit. So I cut it off, kind of just made it like a handle. And then a little seat, kind of sit down, strap in, all that stuff if you want to. This is like a hitting mat from golf. I just put that up here because it adds a little bit of thickness to it, and you get that padding up here. You could use a felt or a carpet or something too, but I highly recommend having something up here on top. That way you can kind of dig your edge in when you're jump starting. Because sometimes, yeah, it's 7 foot, but we don't have enough speed. Sometimes, like when it all dries out, you can see there's some wax and stuff on there, but we spray it with water probably, I don't know, every 5 runs. But if you get like a squad out here and stuff, and you got like 5 people, you're spraying it like every time you take a lap, it should be getting wet, because it just splashes off and it soaks through. You could probably put a carpet or something that would hold the moisture better, but then you're going to run into mold and stuff too. So I don't know, it's up to you how you want to do it. But that's the drop-in ramp, little 7-footer, 1 pallet wide, so it's only like probably 4 feet, 3.5, 4 feet wide. I know a lot of crews use pallets for dropping in the streets and stuff, so that's kind of similar setup. What else? Yeah, so I just overlap the tarp, right? So as you're riding it, you go over it, and you can see this one's just shit. The ground is horrible under here. Right there, we got a nice worms and stuff. My son likes to fish, so that's perfect. We have like an extra never mind this extra layer. Shout out Max, he wanted to keep that one on there just because why not? So we kept it on there. Holds a little bit of moisture, so it's probably pretty good. And then these are going to need to be replaced at some point because obviously OSB and water don't mix. But so peel back a little bit further. This is kind of how I made the transition, right? So we got the main pallet here comes down, and this is kind of how I always used to build my stuff. So this one comes down, and then I got a half a pallet. I cut one off here, like transition a little bit more, and then I use the plywood to kind of finely tune it. This one's not screwed down, so I can lift it up and show you. So I just put like a base down on the ground, a couple 2x4s, set one piece of plywood down, and then the other one goes into here. I did screw it on the very tips so it holds it, otherwise it would just slide out. This one's kind of jammed in between the pallets there, so you can kind of see that. And then you just throw the tarps over it, and it's solid. It's pretty sick. It's good transition. It's not like, I mean, when you're rolling in pretty fast, so it just does its thing. And then the jumps, I used to use just snow, but obviously it's summertime, so I had a pallet there too for a while. That didn't really, I don't know, it was good. It was good enough. It just looked janky, and I wanted something a little nicer, so I just went legit skate ramp. If I peel this up, you can see it'd probably be better to have some sort of rubber membrane down here underneath the carpet or the outdoor turf. This is just the outdoor turf from Home Depot, the cheap stuff, like I said. But anyway, so rubber membrane down that way, because what happens is as you're coming down and you're pumping through this, the mud will push up onto the ramps, and you can see that every now and then I let these dry out. So today is probably a good day to do that. But they're just, you know, little skate ramps, right? Transitions, webbing, all that good stuff. So super easy. And the way I leveled these, this is something to note too, because I didn't have it this way at first. At first I just had them side by side, which is fine. But through all the use and stuff, I kind of figured I'm goofy. So as my other homies came out and some of them ride regular and they're having trouble. So what happens is they would slip off to the side when they're going up on the left side of the ramp. So to kind of mimic the takeoff of an urban on, like at Highland and stuff, I just kind of lifted this side of it because the yard slants, let me come back here. The yard slants to the left. So I shored up the left side to get it to come to the right. So you kind of have like those two lanes, right? Either side of the rail. That works out pretty good. It's better. Guys that were out the other day still struggled a little bit, but some of that could have been first time out. I don't know. The drop is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sketch at first when you come out. So like if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw a backy right off this thing, you know, you get out here, you're like, maybe I'll take a couple runs for a minute, you know. But anyway, so this is the new tube I got yesterday. It's an 8" by 20 feet. Super sick. Everybody says PVC slide's amazing. It does, but you still gotta wax it. The reason I do is because it dries out when you have it for more than a season. So this particular tube, I'm getting different bracing and stuff for it probably this week. So we'll see how that goes. But for the meantime, I just made these little feet here. What did I do? So I took the tube, placed it on a 2x4, and then slid the other 2x4s up into it, and then kind of marked it with a pencil. Went into the garage, screwed them together, and then cut angles on them to make them look pretty, right? Everybody likes pretty stuff. But anyway, so that's why I made that one. Got to go with the color. The color kind of changed everything. it just feels more fun with all the orange and the black, and it's cool looking. So I got to do the C rail yet. But this one is the waterfall. Lots of questions on this. Just a quick note, I use the steel angle brackets on all my rails. I used to do a 2x4 from here to here, but I felt it was kind of clunky if you come off early. So when the kids would come off early, they'd snag those, and like, wasn't ideal. It's just one less thing you got to worry about. Laying on these 2x4s is nothing, because the nose and all that stuff, you just ride right over them. Not a big deal. Maybe the low rise, maybe like a flat board, like a more flat nose profile, you'd probably, I don't know, end up running right into it, but not a big deal, I guess. We haven't had any issues. It doesn't really scratch the bottom of the board when you land on, because it's wood. So super good. The screws, that's another case right there. I mean, you could claim that those are gonna cause an issue, but just don't come off early and you're fine. Get used to it. It's only 10 feet, so typically once you're on, and if you're coming off, you can hop out a little bit more. So what else? So yeah, these panels is just plywood. I think it's the cheap stuff. Whatever the cheapest they had, it's like 1/4 inch or something. So we just kind of screwed them into the corner here. No special brackets or anything. We just kind of pinched it between 2 screws, one here and then one on the other side. You can see it right there. So we just pinched it on the bottom, pinched it on the top. The pipes, it's just PVC, standard stuff. Get it at Home Depot or wherever your favorite hardware store is. This particular rail, it's, as you can see, it's an 1.5 inch drop. And we just decided that this was a good height, nothing special to the height of the rail, nothing special there. Black spray paint, orange spray paint. Lots of room for logos and stuff, so shout out Zany for hooking us up. Boom, check it out. Wow, let's go. We got here, yeah, we got, so the down rail, a little bit of math involved in this one. Sokotoa. Yep, Sokotoa, search it up if you don't know about it. All right, anyway, so you can also just take these, lay it out how you want on the ground, mark it with a pencil, and then cut it. Super easy. So you just determine your angle here. This would be the bottom, lay a board across, mark it. Preferably this would be the end anyway. So you just mark it, cut it, and you're good. Big thing with most of these rails, like the 8-footer over there, this down rail, and this low rail, they'll have, I don't know, a base to it. I call it the body of the rail, but the base is like, you can see this section, like there's the pipe, there's a 2x4, and then there's another part of the top of the frame right there. So I did that with those 3 rails. That way I can change this top piece. These just screw in. This one screws, I forget, I think this one screws through the, actually they all screw through the bottom up into this 2x4 with a 2.5 inch screw, and the pipe is attached the same way, 2.5 inch screw. Let's see if you can see through there. Yeah, there you go. You can probably see the screws sticking up. So basically center the pipe where you want it, screw up into it. I pre-drill everything. So what happens if you don't pre-drill the PVC is it kind of gets a little, it like pulls the plastic out. So it kind of sticks up off the rail, just like a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. So that's no bueno. And it'll rock if it does that. So I pre-drill it and then I screw up into it. So I clamp it, pre-drill, set the screw, and then do that all the way down. Super easy to do. And then if I wanted to take this single barrel, take this off and put it on the low body, I can, or I can put it on the higher one. That one's a foot, and when I say that, the webs in the middle are a foot. This one's like 15 down to 10. This one's like a 5 inch, something like that. So the overall height is lower. Same with this one. Shout out Flying Hawaiian. Got some sick pipes from him. But yeah, super cool rail. This is super fun. Kids love this one. It's very easy. It's a box basically because it's got so many tubes on it. And that's where I got the idea of all the brackets too, like the metal brackets. I hadn't seen that before. I thought of it, but I hadn't seen it done. And when I was using the one from Nick, it was super sick. So I was like, oh, that's the way to go. So it just looks cleaner too, having those brackets on there than instead of having all the angled 2x4s or plywood or whatever. Super cool. The width of these feet, this is something to take note, okay, especially on the C rail. The width of the feet, I make it so it's at least twice the height of the overall rail when it's done. Reason for that is triangles, right? So outward pressure from the top, like if I were to come at this, it's gonna slide out before it tips over, right? So that's how I do that. And then with the C rail, added thing on this, because I knew there'd be a lot of sideways pressure on this C rail, what I did is, I put a web I put a foot on every post, right? Normally I do it just like in the middle or whatever to kind of support the overall rail. Not because it's not a big deal, right? There's just downward pressure and the 2x4s can handle that. So with this one, the sideways pressure, I put one every post, okay? And these, I just angle cut these at 6 degrees and made boxes with a 6-degree cut. And then I made 5 of those, screwed them together. So you can see here, they just sandwich, screw it from that side. Did that for all those. The ends are blunt. They're just 90 degrees. So they line up with the pipe. And then angle brackets, and then the feet are slightly more than the height of this rail. On this one, I knew there'd be a lot of sideways pressure. So what I did, I gotta put the orange things in there too, is I took a 2.5-inch screw and I drilled it through. So it's got like a little barb on there, and that's what holds it to the carpet. Once that digs into the carpet, like first hit, as soon as you get the rail where you want it, first hit, it's gonna dig into the carpet and it's gonna stay there. So that's key. You could do that on all the rails if you wanted to, but it keeps it from sliding, which is super sick. Because we've had long setups before where we'll try like 40 feet, putting all these together and do like a 30 or 40 foot rail. And sometimes you come off early on one and it'll like scooch out. So not ideal, but anyway, that's kind of it. But yeah, so you can take these, the tops of these, you unscrew those. I could put flat box going down, flat box high. We could do single barrel low, single barrel high. It's like having the down bar. That's kind of fun. And then the C rail. This is same technique, right? I did put 2 end screws in here. I didn't do that on a lot of them, but I pre-drilled that. Put those screws in there. Still have to do the orange panels on that. We'll get to that soon. The orange here, this helps with the shear forces on that. So say you were someone, right, and you come at this and you're like, oh, I'm a dumbass, I'm gonna go up the waterfall, right? So say you come at this and you fall on it. Seen it? Not ideal, right? But the shear force of this, had we not had these in here, it may have like pushed the whole top of it this way and like kind of slanted it a little bit, and over time that's going to stress it and it's going to break it. But other than that, dude, super fun. You're welcome to hit me up in the DMs and see if you can come out and ride. We've already had some homies from Highland come out, so I'm always happy to have friends over, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.